You can win 53% of your bets and still lose money. And that's not a glitch, it's how the sportsbooks designed it. Everyone talks about win rate like it's gospel, but if you're not beating the odds, you're just a profitable loser in disguise. I've lost over $3,000 chasing winners instead of value, but once I started studying how professional gamblers actually win, the top 1% of guys crushing poker, blackjack, and sports betting, I've consistently stolen money from the sportsbooks. Eventually, they noticed, and like the cowards they are, the sportsbooks started limiting my bets. So today, I'll show you the 6-step system me and my coaching clients use to stop donating to the bookie's beachfront vacation home and start treating betting like a business. If you're looking for parlays and picks, then click off the video right now. But if you're still watching, you're probably one of the smart ones, someone who values math and logic over emotion. So starting out with step 1, and the first step to becoming a top 1% sports bettor is to avoid this stupid mistake. And it's a stupid mistake that I've made myself. And I still cringe till this day. So many years back, I joined one of those $97 per month discords where some washed up tipster shares his picks. But first thing I see when I join, Lock Daddy 69, shirtless, sunglasses indoors, Monster Energy in frame, saying, Korean baseball over 3.5. Lock of the day. I copied his picks for a week and went 3-11. And at one point we had action on a women's volleyball unders in Poland at 3 a.m. So I asked him why and he responded with, the line looked sus, bro. We went on to lose that bet too, and I was so close to punching a hole in my wall. You see, the professional sports bettors don't bet on who they think is going to win. Sometimes they bet on who they think is going to lose. And this sounds stupid, but the pros are actually looking for value instead. So if you want to copy the simple system I used to make my first $1,000 with sports betting, then I'll put a link to it down below in the description. It walks you through the exact steps to grow your bankroll the smart way without praying for a 6-leg rent parlay from Lock Daddy 69. But let's move on to step 2, and if making money from sports betting isn't about picking winners, then what is the key? Let me explain it this way. Let's say you're rolling a 6-sided die, but every time it lands on a 6, you win $600. Every other number, you lose $100. Most people wouldn't touch that. They'd say, it's a long shot. But if you run the math, the expected value of each roll is about plus $16.67. That means, on average, you're making money every time you roll. That's a positive expected value bet. Even if you lose a few times early on, if you keep playing that same edge over and over, you'll come out way ahead over time. But let's break it down with a real betting example. Say you're offered plus 600 on a team, but you believe the real odds should be closer to plus 400. That means the sportsbook thinks this team wins 1 in 7 times, which is 14%, but your model says it's more like 1 in 5, which is 20%. If you're right, and you bet $100 10 times, you hit twice. That's $1,200 in wins, $800 in losses, which gives you a $400 profit. So now you're wondering, cool, plus EV bets are the goal, but how do I actually find them? That's step 3 in our system. And here's how it works. Imagine you're buying a new TV, so you check a few stores. Best Buy has it for $900, Amazon has it for $880, and suddenly Walmart lists it for $600. So either Walmart's running a crazy sale or they messed up with the price. Either way, you're jumping on that deal. That's exactly how it works in sports betting. Each sportsbook uses its own algorithm, data sources, and sometimes they just get the odds wrong. So when 9 out of 10 books have a line at negative 140, but one random book is hanging negative 120, that's your Walmart TV moment. That's a pricing error. And if you catch it before it moves, you've got a positive expected value bet. Meanwhile, all the parlay princesses out there are still throwing 6-leg parlays based on something they saw on Twitter. But we don't want to manually scroll through 12 different sportsbooks, squinting at lines with nerd neck, mouth breathing like an idiot. I used to do that and it sucked. But now there are tools that automate the whole thing, which takes us to step 4. These tools can scan all the books for you and flag when one sportsbook has a positive EV bet. And there are a bunch of options out there and they all basically do the same thing, so use whichever one you prefer. Personally, I use OddsJam, and it's like having a price shopping assistant. But you can't just fire up OddsJam and blindly copy every plus EV play and expect to print money. That's how you end up betting on Indian fencing at 2 a.m. and wondering why you're losing money. The tool shows you potential value, but you still need to apply common sense. First, you want to make sure at least 5 major books are offering lines on the game. If only 2 or 3 books are posting odds, there's a good chance the market isn't sharp yet, and that positive EV might be misleading. Same goes for super niche leagues and weird markets. Stuff like alternate spreads, obscure player props, or exact score bets. They can look like plus EV, but not many people are betting on it. So it doesn't take much money to move the lines. All it takes is for one sharp to dump a large amount of money on the game, and now you're no longer plus EV. But if you're serious about finding positive expected value bets, and you want to learn from others doing the same, I'm starting a community built exactly for that. We don't share picks or hype, because our philosophy is all about building systems to beat the market. So if that sounds like your kind of group, there's a link in the description to learn how you can join. Since those of you watching now are early to the channel, I'll let you guys join the group for free. But in the future, I'll be adding a paywall to make sure the group doesn't get too big, so get in while you can. But what if you get super unlucky with your bets? Because it happens sometimes, but the professionals know this. And so they have a system to stop themselves from tilting and making emotional decisions. And it comes down to having a boring system that doesn't change just because you're feeling good. Here's how it works. But before you even think about strategy, you need to ask, how much can I wager without feeling pressure? That's your emotional bankroll. If your bet makes you anxious, you're over your limit. And when you're over that line, logic goes out the window and you're at risk of titling. Which takes us to the next part. And in order to remove emotion, sharp bettors don't just bet random amounts. They use units, a fixed percentage of their bankroll, usually 1 to 2%. That's it. So if your bankroll is $5,000, you're betting $50 to $100 per play. But moving on to the final part of the system. And you don't scale your bet up just because you love the pick. That's how you go broke. Confidence is a feeling, so you need rules for protection. Here are 3 rules I personally use. Never bet more than 2% of your bankroll on one game. Never have more than 10% of your bankroll in play at the same time. Also track your bets and stop betting in markets where you consistently lose. Now, a lot of my coaching clients complain that sports betting takes way too long to see results, but it's actually one of the quickest ways to get rich. Here's what I mean. Most bettors act like gamblers, but sharps think like the casino. The casino doesn't care about one bet. They care about the small edge that they have. It's the tiny advantage, repeated over time. That's how they print money. And the same goes for you. You're stacking 3 to 5% edges, bet after bet, month after month. It doesn't feel exciting in the short term, but the results are ridiculous over time. Let's say you start with a $5,000 bankroll. You stick to 1% bet size, take 5 bets per day, and only take bets with at least 3% edge. Here's how the math plays out year by year. After a year, you've made $3,000, which doesn't seem like much, but if you could get a 60% ROI on an investment, you'd be super happy. And just like with investing, things start to compound, and after 6 years, you're finally able to hit the $10,000 per month milestone. And after 10 years, you're sitting at over $1 million. Now, obviously, real life gets in the way. You might pull money out, add more in, or hit betting limits. But the small edges, stacked daily, add up fast. This is how sharp bettors grow real bankrolls over time. So earlier, we broke down why win rate is a lie and how sharp bettors focus on value instead. But understanding expected value is just the start. What actually changes how you bet day to day are the habits you build around it. So if you want to flip the script and start thinking like a professional, watch this next video where I cover the worst betting strategy you can do and how 97% of sports bettors are using it without realizing. It's right here on the screen. Go check it out.